Hello, fellow mountain bike racers. This is Lance. I am starting up a new series. This is a race series that I'll be covering called the Midweek Mountain Bike Race Series. The format of the races themselves for this race in particular, and maybe of the future races, is an individual time trial. Due to COVID and the local regulations, they weren't able to do mass starts. That might change here in the future as regulations start to change. This race is located in Round Valley, Utah. This is the second race of the series. I missed the first one. Round Valley is by Park City, Utah. The course I have not ridden before, and I did not get the chance to pre-ride it, so I'm going to go in blind. And the race strategy that I have is I'm just going to try to find somebody that I'm racing at the same pace with and follow them, so in the hopes that they know where they're going. And if not, I'll hopefully try to follow the marked course and make it through without getting too far off course. Luckily enough, that never happened, and there are flags and trail stewards that were on the trail throughout the whole entire thing. I'll be working through what strategies, what things that I did good, and what things I did wrong, and things that I can work on. And if you guys have any other things to say, put them down in the comments below. So let's get going.
What's climbing?
And it's funny to hear these people, little trail marshals there. They're amazing people. They're doing this fine work here. One thing to note at this is the first time I've ever raced the Corner Canyon race or this midweek mountain bike race series. So I literally went into this race blind. I have no clue about the course or anything like that. I downloaded the trail map off for Trailforks. It's loaded onto my Garmin. So you can kind of hear the audible beeps and whatnot on my Garmin. I had no clue where I was going, so I may have been just a little bit more conservative riding when it came down to the downhill sections, just because I didn't know where to go. The uphills, I did push myself though, because it is uphill, so there shouldn't be any problems there. Overall, the cadence that I'm spinning there is probably sitting about 90 plus. Could I have dropped a gear and kind of increased speed? Maybe, but this felt like that was the best for my legs.
Thank you, thank you.
As you can see, I can still talk. Throughout this race, I seem to be very talkative with people while I'm racing. So even if I'm out of breath for some reason, I am a balloon of hot air, so I can keep chattering all the way through. And as you see, if you're coming up, there is one of the coolest things is these guys that are riding on their hand cycles, these hand mountain bikes. What an amazing thing to see and get passed by these guys that are on these. I mean, this guy was flying. It was amazing. I don't know if these guys have like e-bike motors or anything on them, but it's an amazing thing to see. And what's cool about this race series is they have the course set out well enough that these guys can ride their e-mountain bikes on this trail, these hand cycles. As you can see though, so what happened here is the guy that had tried to pass us there, he kind of had a problem where he didn't have the right gearing. And if you guys know anything about these hand cycles, is because you're both turning, steering, shifting, and everything with your two hands, it can kind of get cumbersome with trying to keep up with it. So this is what happened right here: is he didn't have the right gearing for it,
No,
and
dude.
so
Appreciate you. Have a good one.
things just happened. He didn't have the right gearing, and so he kind of fell behind there. So this is the guy that had first had gone ahead of me. As you can see, we kind of got slowed down on that spot. But here we go. We're going to start one of the first little climbs that we have for the day. Beautiful sunny day. The temperature right there was about 60 degrees. I mean, it was a wonderful day. So, Strategy-wise, I mean, because I was trying to figure out where I was going, I was pretty conservative on the downhills. The uphills, I was pushing it just a little bit more because that's kind of where I knew where I could keep my pacing. Right now, I'm sitting in the sport class in the 25 to 34 range, as I am 34 years old now. But this guy ahead of me, he knew where he was going. I started off kind of being pretty conservative from the first beginning part of the ride because I didn't know what to expect. So I was trying to save just a little bit of energy here. There you go, picking up my lines. And part of my race strategy here was to follow this guy for as long as I felt comfortable. He kept a pretty good pace and something that I thought I was following really well. So I decided to stay with him for the time being. And as you can see, I'm still breathing pretty hard. My heart rate's not maxed out yet, but I mean, it's pretty warm. It's getting up there. You know, dropping gears here, trying to pick up speed. One of the things to do here, of course, on a cross-country course, if you can, is when there is a downhill and you know there's going to be an uphill, drop those gears, spin it up as much as you can, so when you go up to that uphill, it makes that uphill just a little bit easier. The less effort and the less work that you have to do, I mean, the better you are. And then one of the things what happens here is because it's not a mass start, to fight for position on these single tracks is a little bit easier. I mean, you'll see later on, I'll start getting up to some of these beginner guys, the beginner groups, and so I'll have to do some passing through them, and I'll tell you the strategy and some of the things that I could do better here. The whole point of what I'm doing here for this race series and kind of to show off is to kind of give you like what I did wrong, what I did right, and all the things that I could have I can work on, and the things that I thought I did well. And so far, some of the things that I was doing well was, getting past people here in the beginning, making sure I followed this person because who knows where I was at this point in time. And you can see here, it's marked by orange flags, but the orange flags are spread out far enough, and at one point in time, I got lost. But yeah, as you can see, I'm still chatting away. I'm chatting away at the guy in front of me. I'm not trying to, like, put anything in his head or anything like that.
I don't have the energy to pass any faster right now.
And you can see here, I'm just kind of talking to him, telling him, hey, I don't have the energy quite yet to pass. And he's telling me that his descending is not as good, so I'm like, where is it?
Cool.
And then, he gave me some space. That was too nice of him. I mean, we had more than enough open area right here where I could have passed him. I don't think he should have slowed down. Same for this girl right here. If you know that there's someone behind you to pass, you don't have to come off the trail that much. I mean, make the guy pass. Here's the photographer. He got a pretty cool shot of me there. And this is the start of the first downhill that you'll see. Again, I'm kind of conservative here. I mean, smashing through some of these rock sections, I probably could have gone a lot faster. I did kind of weave in and out of the rocks to kind of dodge them and dodge and find lines. But I think I could have opened it up a lot more and let it go. I did have a past experience here at the 6 Hours of Frog Hollow, where when I did smash through these rocks, like this, I flattened my rear tire. I snake bit it, and yeah, that was kind of a problem. So that just happened. But here we go. Here's the fun little fast downhill. If you look at my rear view camera, you can see that my camera is mounted on my seat post. So I do have a dropper on this thing, so I did drop it during this part of the race, or during this part of the downhill. go. And right here, my body position is in that ready position. Trying to stoke up all those little hits. Build up as much speed as I can. And what a fun little downhill this is. I mean, this downhill is so much fun. If anyone ever gets the chance to ride and race Corner Canyon, either midweek or if you just ride it for fun, I mean, Corner Canyon is such a fun area to ride on. It is beautiful, with pretty well marked trails and everything. All right, we're just coming to another small uphill section.
Left.
Again, I'm so glad that the trail marshals are there
Thank
because
you.
would have not had a clue where to go from there. Even with the map on there, it's not like I'm really paying attention to them to my little map on my phone. And this is a great zone right here because it is a fire road. Take a sip of water. As you can see, I'm trying to spit. Here you go. Take a chug of water. Getting some of those electrolytes. I've got Noon in that bottle also, just to keep my electrolytes up at this time. Wasn't a hot race, so I didn't think I needed that much, but figured better be safe than sorry. The race itself is sitting on a multi-use trail system, and they don't close it to everybody, so it's still open. As you can see, there's still people passing as I'm kind of going past them. See, there's another person. But everyone's been pretty nice about not running, not running into you or making it harder to ride through. So I'm grateful for that, and it's amazing that people are so nice to us on this trail. So as you can see, yeah, the flags are there. At first, it's kind of one of those, okay, where do I go? So like, I might have gone right there, but as you can see, the flags are still covering it, so we're safe. And in the comments down below, let me know what you guys think. Give me some. See, and here's a question mark there. I had no clue where I was supposed to go. Should I have gone right? Should I have gone left? I finally saw a flag marker as I went through, so I thought, okay, good, I'm safe. But if you guys have any comments on what I can do better, please. I'll take any keyboard experts that have written XC and have any thought processes on what I could have done better here.
Shit.
Don't mind the accidental swearing there. I did hit something. I think something hit my rock, or something hit my down tube. It's a big rock that hit my down tube. This little section here is a little bit bumpy for being kind of a double track or anything like that. So I was trying to find the cleanest line through it. Here you go, panning away at the pedals, trying to make it through this section. So, as you go through this section here, let me just talk about what class I'm in. I didn't know where I sat at this point in time, so I'm sitting in the sport class, the sport 25 to 34. It starts off with the beginners, sport, experts, and pros here on this series. And so I didn't know if I should have gone into the expert class. For this specific race itself, I did place second in the sport class, which, like I said, as an average show rider, I thought was pretty good. I came in and I clocked in at about 57 minutes. The guy that beat me clocked in at 55 minutes roughly, and then the next one after me was 20 something seconds behind me. So I mean, it was not very much time in between.
Thank you.
Again, this is one of those. This spot right here is the turnaround spot for both beginners and the sport experts and pros. So they split the course for the beginners by going right and shortening the course by a little bit. The sport experts and pros take the longer course. And this is one full lap on this course, and this is the fun downhill from here. At this point in time, I still don't have a clue where I'm going, and I start to give myself some freedom to maybe open it up just a little bit more, even though I don't know what's coming up next. Oh, but what a fun, fast little downhill section this is. And I know there's things I can work on when it comes down to, coming down this hill. Some places I can open it up a little bit more, trust my tires a little bit more, trust myself a little bit more. I mean, that's one of those things that is a confidence thing that you kind of have to build for yourself is when you're racing, I mean, if you can keep it open and wide open throttle through instead of, touching brakes every once in a while, you'll be a lot better off versus somebody that, keeps touching their brakes or grabbing their brakes a little bit more. And look how beautiful this landscape is. I mean, take a moment. It's so pretty over here. And here we go. I'm in this pursuit. At this point in time, I saw a rider up ahead, and I really wanted to catch them. So I start opening up the gas a little bit more, and pursuing, wanting to catch up to this guy. And as you can see, there they are ahead of me. I'm starting to make some ground. And oh boy, the chase is on. Here we go. I see him. I have him in my sights. Alright, let's make it around this switchback real fast. And as I'm racing here, I'm scrubbing those jumps. I am trying to pick up or maintain as much speed as possible, and keeping two wheels on the ground is going to be a lot better than flying through the air. So I scrub those little jumps a little bit and try to push for more speed. See, I think one of the things that I need to work on there is through cornering, through those kind of switchbacks. I mean, that was a wide tubing switchback, and I feel like I could have kept my speed going through that. I think that's one of those things that, as I continue working on stuff, I'm gonna keep trying to push through those corners a little bit faster instead of laying on the brakes. I seem to have, a fear of it for some reason. Even though I know the technique, I mean, a good strong technique is coming up high, looking through your corner exit, making sure that you spot your exit, follow through with it, and go. But for some reason, I hesitate just a little bit. And so I do think I slow down and I scrub a little bit of speed, a little more speed than I need to. So it's something that I'll practice and work on.
Good job.
And as you can see, I love to give people words of encouragement. I mean, we're all in this to race, to have fun, to goof off, and to do that kind of a thing.
Oh,
As you can see, this person slows down for me, and I'm trying to find a open spot so that I can start doing this climb. So here we go.
Right? Or straight? Oh, straight. Never mind. Sorry, guys. No worries.
The guy was on his phone at that time. I had no clue where I was going, so lost a couple of seconds there trying to figure out which way to go.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
And then there's a random pedestrian as we were racing through there. And so here we go. This is the next section of another little uphill section that they put in here. In this race, or in this course, there's 3 uphills. The second one is kind of the smaller of the two. The third one is the longest, and
How's it
it
going?
steepens out at the very end, and is not the hardest.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
One of the things that I should probably work on here is instead of talking so much, is kind of call rider back, see when I can get a quick opening, call it out a little bit sooner, or call it out a little bit later so that I'm not up on them like I am. I mean, that's one of those things that if I was further back while I was yelling it, they would give me more opportunity to, pass them so I wouldn't have to scrub any of my speed coming up through these sections. And with even usage of your drop post, it's not like I always have to use it all the time. I only use it for the longer downhills. So these little small whoops and stuff like that, it's not necessary to always have to use it. And in these spots right here, if I had a second to actually like pedal, I probably should have taken the advantage of pedaling. I was kind of, feeling it a little bit in my legs, so I took the moment instead to rest. And then as you can see right here, almost missed the turn, but even in that short little downhill, no need to drop your C-post. I just kept it up. See, I should have said rider back right here. If I would have said rider back here, I would have been better off, right? That person,
Thank you.
even though I didn't really lose any speed because it was open enough, if I would have given her more forewarning or notice, I would have been a lot better overall. It's not like I'm racing, World Cup cross country or anything like that, so I'm just racing the local race series. Bye, human. And so, if you guys have ever heard of togs, they're the little thumb holders for an extra position. Instead of using the bar ends or anything like that, this is something I kind of wish I had. So as you can see, if you look at my hand position here, is that when I'm climbing, instead of holding it kind of death grip style or moto grip style, I actually like to put my thumb over my hand or over the handlebars. And what Togs does is Togs sits in between the brake lever and the grips. to give you another hand position, and that's kind of something that I think I need to get sometime. So I'll get affording those sometime. They're not too expensive. They're only like $20 for them, but just haven't had the opportunity to pick them up. Also, please enjoy the different colored grips. I am a big fan of customizing my bike and making my bike unique and slightly different than the rest. So I have a blue grip and baby blue grip and a hot pink grip on my Intense Sniper. One of the other things that I need to learn how to do a little bit better is
Hey, bud.
doing the
You're
old
doing a great
snot
job.
rocket.
I'm gonna pass here. Thanks, bud.
See again, the kid didn't need to stop. He kind of randomly stops. I mean, you lose your momentum there. I know that he's probably a beginner, but guys, one of the things that you guys need to make sure of is you don't have to stop. You need to let the guy behind you find a way to get around you. When he says rider up, I mean, yeah, you can come off the side a little bit, but he's going to have to find the opening. And I know this is kind of, you know, a safety thing, and people are really courteous about it, so I totally understand that, and it's great that they do it. But you denote when they can pass you, and then they have to make the effort to pass. But going back, so one of the things that's happening right now is I can't breathe through my nose. So I am terrible at doing the whole snot rocket on the bike kind of a thing. And so right now my nose is clogged with some snot, and I cannot breathe through my nostrils at all. So I'm breathing all through my mouth. And what that's doing is it's drying out my saliva enough that it's kind of making my saliva really sticky. And so when I spit, I'm spitting out like really sticky spit.
Whew.
And see on that corner right there, I could have kept going. I shouldn't have slowed down. I shouldn't have lost any of my momentum there. There I am, trying to play with my nose. It was a little bit colder day out there. I mean, I think the high of that day was about 56 or something. So it was a little bit cooler. So the cool air plus my warm body made for a snotty condition. Alright, and so here's where I start catching up to some of the, I don't know if these guys are sport class or beginner class, but started catching up to people here. Keeping a pretty good high cadence. I'm not much of a masher. I'm actually more of a spinner
Oh
myself.
boy, the fun doesn't stop.
Again, I'm just chatting with people. Yeah, as you can see, I'm much of a spinner than a masher. I don't do very well at mashing.
Thank you, sir.
I don't come from a road biking background at all. It's just I seem to do better overall. So I'll let you guys continue watching this section here. There's not much to talk about here through the section. Maybe in these later videos I'll start to speed up these uphill sections a little bit more so that you can kind of, you don't have to sit there and watch it the whole entire time. And you can enjoy more of the downhill sections. But as you can see, this is just one of those things that, you know, you're working on. It's just climbing, making sure that you have enough energy for this hour-long race. Luckily enough, this is only an hour long, so I don't have to conserve as much energy overall, but I try to conserve some. But if this race happens again here at the same spot, I'll know what to do for next time. I'll know how much energy to conserve and how much I can use overall. my next victim of trying to pass. I saw him a little bit a while ago, and I was like, man, I gotta catch up to this guy. And you know, that's one of those things. So, for somebody that races mountain bikes,
Oh boy, this doesn't get easier, does it?
and
Okay.
as
Thanks, man.
you can tell, as I'm
Appreciate
chatting
it.
with him real quick, um, one of the little strategies that I have here is I kind of follow the David Goggins idea that you know you take it one step at a time. So you find your next spot, you may reach that spot, you find your next spot, you reach that spot. And for me, when I'm racing here, one of the great things is there will always usually be people ahead of you, and the whole point for me is to catch them. So I spend my time chasing people down in the hopes that I can catch them. It's like, oh, that person's up ahead. Okay, let's see if I can make it to them and pass them. And it's not like I have a marker of where I'm going to pass them at, just because I don't know where I'm at. But it's okay. Here we go. Here's my next person. So like right here. Here's my next person. And so I've got him in my sights, and the whole point is to catch up to him, find a good place to pass him, and then go from there.
Oh boy, this is exhausting. You want to get by? Yeah, when you get a second.
And then as you can see here, I'm waiting for him to give me his okay.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, have a good one.
And then I power through that little spot right there.
Howdy, sir. Can I get by when you get a
And
second?
then I had to slow down here because there was not an opening. And the guy behind me passes him also. So here we go. And again, this is kind of the nice part. That little rocky section was kind of interesting. That one caught me off guard. A little techie uphill. I think I took the right line there. I can't remember any of the lines because I was kind of zoned out.
Hey, bud.
Oh, here we go. This is random. Boink!
No worries, dude. Things happen. You good?
I guess the kid flattened or something happened, and so he was trying to run his bike. Sometimes it's easier just to walk with your bike instead of trying to carry it like that. In case you run into trees like that where your bike is wider than the trees, because that happens. So carrying it may not be as good, but maybe just running alongside or walking alongside it would have been a lot easier.
Hi, sir. You got a good pace on you. I got it.
So it was kind of interesting here. So because I was a little bit gassed out here, this guy randomly started to pick up the pace when I was right behind him. I don't know why he did, but guess he had a little bit of energy left in him. So I decided to follow him for just a few minutes
Not quite yet. Sorry,
to,
guys. Let's use this to breathe.
catch my breath.
Whew.
It's not like I was drafting him or
That's even a
anything
really good
like
pace.
that, but I was just, just taking a second, taking a breather, catching my breath. And so here I am, just getting whatever draft you can possibly get off of any mountain biker at this point in time. I probably should have passed him a lot sooner. I should have just geared down and just kind of gritted my teeth and gone with it. I mean, right here at about this time, and we're sitting pretty close to where I'm going to see the final, downhill, uphill, and then downhill section. And so I felt kind of bad, but at the same time, because because I have a moment to take a rest, I can take a rest. And this probably could have, I probably could have had more speed and more time with it. And so here you go. I go past him now because I think he's starting to slow down on this uphill. And that guy again, I don't think it's one of those things where he needed to stop per se. There's a lot of open spaces you can see here. I think that a lot of the beginners don't know that, if you just keep going, you'll be just fine.
Thank you.
And as someone that is cycling a little bit faster than everybody else, it's always good to be courteous to the other riders. Make sure that you know, let them know that you're behind you, but appreciate them for letting you pass. It's not like anything that's necessary, but I always like to have good trail etiquette, even if I'm racing. I mean, being a good trail steward is just one of those things that makes people want to come back and kind of do these types of races again. So if you can be nice to them and not be angry at them for going slow or whatnot, that's just one of those things that you can do. Or that we should try to do. We should try to strive for as mountain bikers and everything. This is another one of those parts where I kind of got confused there for a second because I saw they have to turn and learn trail, so I didn't know which way to go immediately. I made a quick decision, and that was the right decision.
Whew. This doesn't get easier, does it?
As you can see, that's my race saying of the day: is it doesn't get easier. And if you guys ever never heard, it's also really true. Cycling doesn't get any easier; you just go faster. And here we start up pretty much, I think, the last climb of this whole entire thing, where the last little section becomes the last steepest and also the most gravelly and hilly.
Hey guys.
There's people just chatting away. And I can't say that I was totally gassed out here, but I know I was pushing my heart rate a little bit. Again, maybe I'll start to fast forward through some of these more slower uphill portions so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me go uphill this whole entire time at my normal speed. So the average pacing throughout this race, I was sitting, I think, roughly around, was it 13? 13 miles an hour? Let's see here. No, 12.3 is what I averaged. Some of the faster pro guys were averaging like 15 miles an hour. That was insane as an average speed. Found my next victim for passing. Here we go.
howdy, man. When you get a second, can I pass you? I'm gonna pass. Go ahead, keep going. Sorry, this is a tight spot right there.
And so here we
You're
go.
doing a great job.
Having a little bit of a conundrum with this person trying to pass them there.
All right, cool. Thank you.
And then here we go, try to
Cool, man.
push him through in the middle or through the end on the inside there. Again, if there's a downhill and you know there's going to be an uphill right afterwards, keep up that pace.
Oh, coming up on you. I'll pass on you, right? Thank you.
Again, I don't think people need to slow down there. I think people can keep up their pacing because it's one of those things. You don't want to lose your own momentum here. You just listen to the person that says, hey, right her back. As you can see, there's going to be someone that comes up behind me here that starts to fly through. And I believe this is either one of the expert or pro guys.
Hi, sir. Thank you.
There he comes. So if you start looking in the rear view camera, you can start to see him coming up on me. He is flying.
Okay, come up on my left or go ahead.
There he
Sorry,
goes.
buddy, get on.
Look at him. Look at him push that pace. I don't think I could have pushed that pace at all. He was smashing it. But he did not let anybody slow him down.
All
He
right,
just
man.
kept going.
Sorry, well,
See, this is one of those things
you're
that
in a
I
good
think
spot.
I need to do better here. See how that guy just went and just did not stop or slow down? I let people slow me down, which is one of those things that I wish I didn't do, right? And this is the worst. I'm the worst offender right here, right now, is because I'm following this person for whatever random reason
Thank you.
instead of just mashing those pedals and getting right past them. I have spent what, probably another 5 or
I'll come
6
up on your inside.
seconds on that person, wasted just trying to wait for the passing opportunity. So here you go. You have to put more power down because you lose that momentum, and momentum is really the name of the game here. Thanks to Mr. More Cowbell Man. So here we are. We're on really the last little bit of the climb before the last downhill.
Alrighty.
Take a quick shot of water. one of the things here is if you know the course, when you start to fatigue like I am, if you know exactly where you are in the course and what you're doing, it makes it a lot easier to navigate the course because then you just kind of go through these sections and you don't have to like spot, you know, random obstacles or whatnot
Thanks,
here.
sir. Sounds good. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
Which is something that I had to do is I had to keep up the momentum. And in some of these parts where it was a little more not even technical per se, just a little more rocky or whatnot, knowing the line, knowing where the line was would have been a good thing.
Right? Ooh, thanks, man. I almost went the wrong way.
As you can see, not knowing the course can lead you a little bit astray. And so here's the last little fire road climb. That is the steeper of the last of the fire road climbs. There is one more climb after this, but it's really short in comparison. This is the steepest. Here comes in the whole multi-use trail again.
Hey, guys.
And yet somehow I can still blurt out a little greeting to the multi-users. I almost thought to stand up there and stamp it out, but instead I knew that it was really gravelly right there, so I opted just to spin it out at a little bit slower pace. And it was one of those didn't know where I was going moments for a second. Great opportunity to catch my breath, get a couple of seconds of rest in.
Thanks, man.
And now we're coming upon the last little fun downhill that we'll have.
Afternoon.
Again, this is one of those another one of those moments where I should have trusted my tires a little bit more to get me through these corners. Just because I'm losing efficiency having to pedal out through some of these corners to keep up some of the speed that I want to keep up.
Thank you.
And so here I am. If you see just a little bit earlier, there were people ahead of me. I was trying to catch them, and so that is the whole purpose of me flying down this mountain right now, is to catch up to the two people that I had just seen. And there they are right there. Started gaining on them. But again, that's my motivator to push through some of these corners.
Hard right. Sorry about the skid.
So here's one of the
Right
things
side,
that I
left
wish I
side.
would have known,
Right side.
is that if I would have known that I could have just taken up this whole entire lane,
Just get you loose.
I would have taken up more of this lane, because I started catching up to these guys, and instead of pushing past these guys like I could have, I sort of I let myself sit back a little bit. Again, as you can see here, I stopped pedaling. Like Lance, if you would have kept pedaling through this spot, I would have made up some time in front of these people, caught up to them, or did something, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But here we go. This is the last climb. This is the one I started pushing through. This last little section is kind of a fire road with with some gravelly bits to it, so I didn't trust my tires as much here, because I did get a little squirrely. Making one small adjustment to the camera. Taking a peek at it real quick, making sure that it's in an okay position, I think. Again, this is another spot where maybe I could have kept pedaling instead of riding through it. And so I see this guy that is, going about the same pace as I am, or a little bit faster or slower. And I was like, all right, I want to catch this guy. But do I do it? Well, I'm on his tail now.
Oh boy, that's sketchy.
And what that guy did that I should have done is I should have followed him on the inside line where there's less sand and gravel and dirt and whatnot. And cross the line. Here we go. Finished.
Sorry about that. No worries, but it wasn't your fault. I was in a sketchy. It's all sketchy right there.
And what a fun little race. So that's race number 2 of the
Exhausted.
midweek mountain bike series. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me.